All right. Group policy. Group policy. Who said whoa? Group policy is awesome. I love group policy, right? Why do I love group policy? I love having the power. Yeah, I think I heard someone say power. You have complete control over your users and whatever they do. Yeah, okay. Group policy. It is just amazing. I hate having to go around to everybody's machine. SneakerNet. Who's heard of SneakerNet? You go around to every machine, you make a change. Never want to do that again, right? And group policy is fantastic. But group policy, it's been out since Windows 2000, basically. It has a lot of predefined sets of settings that are in the box, right? And if you want to do something different outside the box, well, yeah, you could. You could go down the path of custom ADM files, custom ADMX files, deploy those registry settings out there. But basically, you had your set list, and if you want to do anything outside of that, it was a pain. Okay? Group policy preferences are awesome, right? I don't have the accent, but I have to say it, they are sweet as, bro. Okay? They are just fantastic. Everything you wanted your group policy to do. Everything you wanted your group policy to do. Almost guarantee that you'll be able to do it in group policy preferences. I won't say guarantee because someone will come up and say, I can't do this in group policy preferences. You know what I mean. But anyway, so group policy preferences are awesome. Why do I love group policy preferences? Because I hate logon scripts. All right? I really hate logon scripts. I am an IT pro. My name is Alan Birchall. Okay, that's all my stuff back there. I'm a consultant with Avanade. That's my Twitter. I have a group policy website, grouppolicy.biz. Okay, really easy. Group policy is all about businesses, so that's why it's grouppolicy.biz. Okay, but preferences are awesome. I'm not a software developer. All right, I can write login scripts. I can look at a Kik script. I can go to Bing and copy and paste code, VB script, Kik script. And if you put me in front of a VB script, I can kind of muddle my way through it. But group policy preferences empowers you to, out of the box, pretty much do everything you've ever wanted to do in your logon script. You can map drives. You can deploy printers. There's just so many things. And what I want this session, what I want for you to be able to do at the end of this session is go back to work, on Thursday, right? And go, today I'm going to start replacing my logon script. All right? I'm going to get rid of it. All right? That's what I want. What I want to do is give you lots of golden nuggets. So I wanted to give you these golden nuggets of information before I even knew there were these golden nugget competition on at the moment. But if you need those golden nuggets, this is the session you need to be in because I'm going to have a heap. Okay? That's what I want. I want to give you so many golden nuggets that you're going to have a gold mine, right, at the end, that you're just going to be able to go back and just go out with the old, in with the new. Don't know why I didn't do this before. Okay? So what I'm going to do is talk very quickly about a couple of new group policy settings. These are native settings, the old traditional settings, but they are so super cool in Windows 7 that I thought it would be a travesty not to mention them. Because when I found them out, I thought, wow, that's so cool, I have to tell the world. Okay, so I'm going to highlight some new policy settings. Bit of a quick introduction to group policy preferences. There's a couple of terminology, a couple of ideas you have to get your head around to make them all work together, all right? Because, if you don't understand how they all the bits and pieces work together, you're probably not going to get the full power of it. And then I'm going to show you lots of demos. So I've got a list of demos here. I'm just going to go through the demos until I run out of time. So I'm hoping the demo gods are good to me. Okay, so like I said before we begin, Windows 7 group policy settings. This is a new one in Windows 7. Exclude files from being cached. Do you want to write back MP3 files to your file servers that users have put on their laptops, right? not just MP3 files, but other file types, maybe like Access databases, your PST files, stuff like that, right? If you don't want users to be able to write those files back to the file server, you can now exclude files in your offline file cache. We all know what offline files are. Windows XP has them, a bit of a pain. It's a lot better in Windows Vista and Windows 7. Right, this is a new feature in Windows 7 with offline files. So exclude certain file types. Disable by default, so you need to go in and enable it by default. These settings are disabled by default. That's why I'm telling you, because they're just not turned on by default. Enable transparent caching. If you're working on a file and it's on a WAN link and you're reading that file, right, and you've got a high latency WAN link, I'm assuming New Zealand is probably a bit worse than Australia with, the really fat pipes of internet. I was here a couple of months ago and I saw all these pictures of little straws with dripping water on them because you're trying to get fibre to the house and everything. We're apparently trying to get that done as well in Australia. But WAN connections aren't the fastest. They're not the highest latency. They've got high latency. Enable transparent caching means that if your computer reads a file from the network share and it's read it once, it'll read it from the local cache first. And you can customize the latency where that starts to kick in. So if you have a lot of issues with reading files over high latency WAN links, right, if you enable this, it'll start servicing those read requests from the local cache once it's got it. Right, some big performance benefits to have there. Background upload, roaming users registry file. You can now synchronize your user's roaming profile in the background, right, while they're logged on. Because why would we ever want that? Because, users always log off at the end of the day, don't they? Yeah, no, right? So users never log off. They'll probably log off on Friday. But, if they made a change to their environment settings, background, color, or taskbar color or something like that, something that's in the registry, something that's in the ntUser.dat, right? If they make a change on Monday and they never logged off, and the machine crashes on Friday, they've just lost that, right? You can now schedule it to happen on an hourly basis. You can have it scheduled on a time of day. So if they leave the machines logged on, 3 a.m., configure it. Actually, 3 a.m. I think is the default. And it will upload the ntUser.dat in the background. So some really cool group policy settings, right? There's one other thing that's new. There's now a group policy search engine, right? There's the URL. And if I had a mouse. There we go. I'll click on the link. Right. Oh, I can see it there. Okay. Group policy search engine. Who's ever known that there's a policy setting there somewhere and you forgot the name? Yeah, no. So Group Policy Management Console actually allows you to search group policy settings. But if you're not on a machine that has Group Policy Management Console installed, how do you search for those settings? Right? This is basically it now. gps.cloudapp.net. It is hosted on a Windows Azure backend, so it's like a poster child cloud app. That's about it for clouds being mentioned in this session, right? So you can go basically in there and you can type. So I just talked about background, synchronization. Are you serious? Huh? All right, well, anyhow, you can see, we didn't find that one particularly because there's a lot of words with the word background, but here are all the search results here. Here is the information about that, where you find it, what OS it's supported on. This is really interesting. Remember this, the registry key, all right, that policy sets. Previously, if you wanted to find the registry key for a setting, you had to go diving into the ADM or the ADMX file, grab that registry key out of there. That's where that sets. Right, and if you wanted to double check, troubleshooting, is this registry, this policy actually applying? Is it actually applying it to that registry path? Right, this lets you find where that path is a lot easier. And the explanation there, that explanation there is the same as the explanation you actually see in the new group policy management or on all the policy settings, okay? So you can see it does a search there as well. Group policy search engine, put it in your favorites. It's really cool just to have it as a tool, right? Just a tool that you can use for your day-to-day work. Great. Policies versus preferences. So group policy, policies, group policy, preferences, all right? I'm going to be using those, I'm going to say group policy preferences a lot. And when I say preference, I mean a group policy preference. When I say policy, I'm talking about group policy, and native, out of the box, enable, disable, one of those settings, all right? What's the difference? Policies restrict the users. If you enable a policy on a user, they can't change the UI. The UI gets locked out, basically. You're locking it down. You're restricting the user. There's the iron fist, I'd bang this table, but I'd be afraid something would break. But, iron fist. There's specific registry settings for all those administrative templates, right? They're on under a policy that has the registry path you saw before, had /policies in it, right? That way, if you remove the setting, it reverts back to what it was configured before, right? And it goes back to the native path, the one that doesn't have the word policies in it. And I say it's filtered two ways. You can put a security group filtering on a group policy, so you can apply it to a specific bunch of users or computers because of group membership. You use WMI filtering. So I'm talking about filtering here. Yeah, you can link them to domains, OUs, sites as well. But I'm just specifically talking about filtering there. Preferences. Preference is a preference. You can set it for the user. The user can go in and change it. Right? Homepage URL. Right? Just an idea. Right? So does that mean that you set it once and then the user can just go to town on the SOE? No. Next time group policy refreshes on the machine, it'll get set back. So the user can go in and change the homepage URL, no problems. 90 minutes later, gets set back to whatever you want. All right? Sometimes users actually feel okay with that because, they just don't like the fact that it's locked and they can't change it. But after a while, they start going in and changing it again and again and again. They just give up and just go, oh, I'm not going to change it anymore. I'll just leave it as default. Okay. No need to be policy aware. One of the really cool settings is the ability to set a registry key. Right? Applications, they're configured via registry. You can just go in and start changing the native registry keys. Just like with custom ADM files, though, be careful. You could start tattooing the registry. You go in and start deleting registry keys. They're gone. You take that policy back. Oh, I deleted registry. Quick, remove the policy. Yeah, it's still going to stay deleted after you remove the policy. You can filter them 25 ways. I'm going to go through a lot of those. I'm going to show you some really cool ways so you can filter. The filtering is applied on a per setting basis, not per policy. Setting within the policy, you can filter. So I can have one group policy object that is configured to apply to 300 different groups. Exclusive groups, like not necessarily, sub-OUs or groups, they have to be, nested groups or anything like that. So you can filter them lots of ways. I'll show you that. But a couple of things. This is kind of the frequently asked questions. I really hope that none of you are going to come up at the end of this session and say, can I do this or that at the end? Because this is what I really want you to take away. Works with any Active Directory. Hands up. Who has an Active Directory? Wow, cool. Okay, so that's good. That's good. Windows 2000 native mode, yes, it will work. Currently not supported by Microsoft, but yes, it will work. Okay. Group policy preferences are applicable. You can make configuration changes to Windows XP Service Pack 2 or later. Again, Service Pack 2. Who has Service Pack 2 Windows XP still deployed? You're in a world of hurt. You realize you're not supported. There's no security hotfixes. Kind of bad to be you. I'm talking about what preferences will work with, and then I'm saying not supported as in Microsoft has end-of-lifed Windows XP Service Pack 2. All right, so Windows XP Service Pack 3, yes, fully supported. Client-side extensions. What are client-side extensions? Well, Windows XP, Windows Vista doesn't know anything about these group policy preferences, okay? So you need to install client-side extensions. You can deploy them by automatic update. You might have seen it as an optional update if you just go into Windows Update, right? Group policy client-side extensions. You can deploy them via SCCM, SMS, any application. There's a whole heap of MSIs. You can just download the MSI from the Microsoft website, downloads.microsoft.com. You can download the client-side extensions and deploy them whichever way you want. You can deploy client-side extensions using logon scripts. Hopefully, that's the very last time you use a logon script. All right? Requires at least one. Now, hands up if you have at least one domain-joined Windows 7 machine to your environment, or Vista. All right? Okay. So that's all you need. You need one. You need one Windows 7 machine to install the Group Policy Management Console. Group Policy Management Console is part of the Remote Server Admin tools. Who remembers adminpack.msi? Excellent. All right, Remote Server Admin tools, that's adminpack.msi. You just have to download it now from Microsoft, install it on Windows 7. If you're running Windows Server 2008 R2, it's just an additional feature. You go in, add a feature, there's Group Policy Management in there, tick that, you've got Group Policy, you don't have to download anything. So when I say Windows 7, and I've got a line through Vista there, it will work with Vista. You can manage, you can make edits to your group policies using that, but it's better to use the latest OS. All right? So use Windows 7 or use Server 2008 R2 with Group Policy Management Console. And when you do that, never, ever, ever go back to XP and modify group policies ever, ever, ever again. Okay? It's not good to edit group policies on the machine that is the most recent, the OS that is most recent in your organization. Because it's backwards compatible, but, well, if you go into Windows XP machine, there's just nothing there. Okay? If you go into Vista, it'll be there, but some settings might not be exactly the same. So native resettings, all the group policies that you know and love, they're still there. This is an additive. All right? Nothing's changed. All right, with your existing native group policy settings. You still apply group policy objects to your computers the same way. So you still have a group policy object that you have to apply. We've just lit it up with a whole bunch more of settings that you can apply. So preferences are additive. All right, so like I said, we're not changing anything the way it was before. Domain only. There's no group policy preferences if you go into your local machine and edit a local GPO. They're just still your standard group policy native settings. All right, so these are domain joined machines, which obviously cuts out Windows Home Premium, all right, because you can't join it to a domain. Native policies take precedence over preferences. You can configure your home page using a native policy in an Explorer. You can configure your home page, and I'm going to show you this, using group policy preferences. If you do both, policies will take precedence. So there are a number of settings that you can say, well, I can do that in group policy native. Yes, you can. But if you don't, you can also do it in preferences. But if you do it in both, native policies take precedence. Very important when you're troubleshooting. Okay? They're free. Who has a budget of free? Everybody. If you own Windows, you have the license to use this. All right? Windows, XP, if it's domain joined, you've got a license, you're Apple's. Okay? So you just need Windows licensed. Can't hammer that home anymore. It's free. So look, there's no budgetary considerations other than the time you take to implement it. Okay, concepts. I'm going to run through the concepts and then I'm going to show you these settings, but you've got to understand the concepts first. There's a few things that you need to understand, and hopefully when you see it, it'll go, light turns on. CRUD. Okay, what's CRUD? Okay, every new setting, or most new settings, have an action applied to them. Create, replace, update, delete. Create a drive mapping. Delete a drive mapping. That's pretty easy, isn't it? Right, what about replace? Right. Create a shortcut on the desktop. with replace. What if the shortcut already exists? Well, with create, if the shortcut already exists, it's not going to create it again because it already exists. So with the create action, right, if the shortcut on a desktop already exists and you go create it again, it's going to do nothing because it already exists. With replace, it's going to say delete it and then make it again. Right? Bit of subtle difference. Update is kind of middle between create and replace. Okay? For some settings, when you go in and you do an update, it'll change the values that are configured in the policy, but it won't delete that object. And when you're looking at create, replace, update, delete, sorry, I'll go delete, obviously removes whatever that is. Removes the shortcut from the desktop, something like that. All right, just removes it, gets rid of it, gone. Okay, next group policy, refresh, update. So, when you're looking at it, look at the online help. Sometimes there's subtle differences in the action, you know, depending on the setting that you're working with. Targeting. Right. There's heaps of ways you can target it. Targeting on a per setting basis, right? You can target based on operating system, right? So what I hear, I can do that with WMI filters. Yes, you can do that with WMI filters. WMI filters, though, also have a bit of a performance hit. You can even target on WMI filters. I'll show you that in a minute. It's a bit strange, but yes, it's there as a bit of a legacy. Target on security group. You know, I want this user to have this printer if they're in this group. All right, that's targeting. All right, so each setting can be targeted, right, to a different group, different bunch of users. And you can even target, I want everyone who is in this security group that are on laptops. Okay, so you can use them together, all right, as well. And the settings, whole bunch of settings that you can do stuff with. All right, so the settings are the new settings in a group policy. So what we're doing is we're extending the functionality of a group policy object. It's not a different type of group policy object. All right, it's just extending it, giving you a little bit more power. Demo. Right, so I'm about to start. I think I just went the wrong way then. Ta-da! Okay, so Group Policy Management Console. Are we familiar with Group Policy Management Console? I hope so. You know, if you're using Active Directory users' computers, wow. Yeah, wow. To edit your group policy objects, yeah. Hopefully. So this is Group Policy Management Console. All right. I'm currently connected to a domain. I'm logged on as a user. The user's called Alan. That's me. And my user objects in the OU people and my workstation objects in the OU workstations. I have a people policy and I have a workstations policy. Right now they're pretty empty. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to edit group policy. Now, size. That's a bit small, isn't it? Yes? I don't want to make it too big though. So I'll make it like 50% there. So you notice here under computer configuration and under user configuration, I have policies, which we all know and love. And I have preferences. Now, we have Windows settings, we have control panel settings. How do you define what falls into each? Well, normally just kind of think of it as, well, if this is something I can do in control panel, it'll be under control panel settings. If not, it's probably under Windows settings. Okay? That's pretty much the difference. Okay? Now, this is a user policy. There's my mouse. So I'm going to go to user preferences. I'm going to open the Windows settings. Applications. Ignore that. No one ever uses applications. That's for third parties. I haven't seen a third party yet extend that. It's a bit of a leftover from policymaker days. That's where this came from. All right? Microsoft bought the company, thought, hey, they're cool, we'll buy them and integrate it with Windows. All right, and so they did with Windows Server 2008. That's when this came out, when Windows Server 2008, not R2, 2008 came out. So we're going to skip over that. Drive mappings. Who here maps a drive in their logon script? Excellent. You're going to wet yourself over this. Drive mappings. There's my actions. Create, replace, update, delete. I've got a drive mapping that I want to get rid of. I want to delete X drive. Because, no one's allowed X files. I like Mulder and Scully. All right, it's reserved. So that's just going to go off. Next time the user logs on, X drive deleted, gone. Doesn't matter. You just go back. Remember, these are preferences. They can go back and go map drive, and they can tick, reconnect. They log off, log back on, it's gone. All right? But I can also create drive mappings. So remember, create, if it already exists, do nothing. So if a user already has X drive, this will do nothing. They already have it. Okay? So with create, you can put in a path. Right? You can reconnect, label as data, so you have nice label. All right? Sorry? Cool. It should be files, yes. So there's files, because it's X files. All right? I can even optionally put in username and password. So all the same options, basically. All right? I'm just going to go through some more settings. But keep this in mind. I'm then going to come back and talk a little bit about targeting. Okay? So, environment variables. I can now change environment variables for my users. User environment variable, system environment variable, the path. Okay? So you can update that. Don't have to use that for logon scripts anymore. Files. Source destination. I can copy a file from the network server, any file, and place it somewhere, destination, right? My local hard drive. I have occasionally come across applications that have a license file. It's a text file, it has a funny random string in it, and every 12 months the vendor goes, right, well, if you want to continue using our product, we'll give you a new license file, right, and that'll make the application continue to work. Pain in the butt to get that file back out, because now you have to package that file up in an MSI that deploys one file. Okay, and test it, make sure it works, blah, blah, blah. This will copy that file out. The workstation will go, I need to grab that file, and I'm going to put it on my local hard drive, wherever you put it. Okay, so, that can be a network share. This can be C drive, right? Something to bear in mind here, this is a little bit advanced. If I press F3, I'll actually zoom out because there's heaps in there. I have variables. I have heaps of variables. I can copy it to the user's app data directory. I can copy it to the user's desktop directory. Right? These will all resolve to whatever that's supposed to. I can resolve it to the Windows directory, the system drive. I can't copy it to a MAC address, because you can't copy a file into a MAC address, but this is just the complete list of variables. So whenever you've got a text field, bear in mind you can hit F3 and you can use those variables. Okay? That was a little bit advanced. I wasn't going to go in there too much, but what I could do is I could go F3, and copy it to the Windows directory / hi.text. And of course the share was server 1 / share hi.text. Now what happens if someone goes and deletes that file? Next group policy refresh, copies it back. Okay? Really good way to keep those files consistent. Okay? So if you wanted to deploy that little 1K file, right, plump it in there, you've got 1,000 computers, those 1,000 computers all have it within 90 minutes. No. Yeah, it'll see if there's a change. Yeah, okay. But don't put up a 1 gigabyte file, right? Because that'll all 1,000 computers will then try to download that 1 gigabyte file all at the same time. So files are pretty cool. No, but there's a folder setting there. So you can create the folder for the user as well to put it into there. Okay? So if you have a folder and it creates the folder and then you copy it in. Yeah. You have to make sure the folder exists, the directory exists. Oh, it'll create the folder first. Yeah. When I've been using it, I've always found the folder gets created first. So, and then look at this registry. Yay! I can now deploy registry keys, HKey current user, classes, local machine, users. If I'm running this as a user policy and I'm trying to set a HKey local machine policy, registry key, it ain't going to work. The user, the group policy, is running in the context of the user if it's a user policy. Right? If it's a computer-based policy, all right? So if I cancel there and if I jump up to here, oh no, it's a Windows setting. There's registry. All right, so that would do it as the machine. So I could do a HKey local machine one there because it's running as the local system context. Oh, I love it when my mouse disappears. So I've got shortcuts. I'm going to quickly go through a few more. Folder options. Who recognises that dialog box? Wow, how easy is that? The UI to configure a setting is the same as the UI to configure a setting on the local machine. Very familiar. Familiar look and feel. Makes it a lot easier. Just quickly notice how everything there is underlined green. That means everything is enabled. Everything is disabled. I hit F8 then. I hit F5. Everything is enabled. I just want to configure this. F8, F6. All I'm setting is hide files and folders there. Red dotted line means it's not going to get applied. Green underscore line means it will get applied. So if you're colorblind, dotted lines mean disabled. Solid line means enabled. Okay? So you can individually configure those settings. Right, there's heaps there, but bear with me. Okay, I'm going to go in now, shortcut. I'm going to create a shortcut. I just want to make sure I'm on user. Yeah, I'm in user. All right, default is update, and most of the time update is all you need. So what I want is a target, the URL on the desktop. Notice here, has lots of pre-populated locations there. Explorer favorites. So if you want to put it in the user's Internet Explorer favorites, you can. I'm just going to do the desktop. Target URL. This is a really awesome website. Right? Actually, I just did that. Right, called the Group Policy Center. Yes, it's spelled American. Right, and I can hit apply there. And I can go GP update. Look on the desktop. I have a shortcut deployed to my users. Woo! Okay, if I want to double click on that, there we go. I've just deployed that shortcut. But, still refreshing there. But I didn't really want to deploy that shortcut, so what I'm going to do is go back to the action and go delete. Now, notice what happens when I go delete. A lot of the settings grey out, right? You don't need to configure the setting if you're going to delete the setting, so it's just going to give you where is this setting currently applied. All right, I'm not going to delete it. But what I could do, I will manually delete it though. We'll go back to update. Go to the common tab. Every setting has this common tab. Remove this item when it's no longer applied, okay? Which forces you to go into replace mode, right? Which means that if I had that shortcut still deployed to the desktop, when the user falls out of policy, it'll delete that shortcut and it'll be gone. Right? If you do that on a registry key, be careful. Because if you just want it to be either 1 or 0, and it falls out of scope, and it's replaced, it'll delete the registry key. It won't be 1 or 0, it'll be nothing. Okay, so be careful with that remove when no longer applied. apply once and do not reapply. Cool. So I click that. Hit GP update force. Shortcut's there. Excellent. So it appeared. I'm a user. I don't like that shortcut. I'm going to get rid of it because I like my desktop the way I like it. All right, I've deleted it. Wait for the machine policy to refresh. Dink-a-dink-a-dink. How's the weather? Yeah, I'm from Brisbane. Yes, you beat us in league, apparently. Very, yeah, okay. GP update force again, and I'm just waiting for the user policy part here to finish. So I'm actually expecting it to not work. So why am I expecting it to not work? So there we go, user policy is updated. Didn't come back. Why? Because when I set that, apply once, do not reapply, that's what it does. All right, I can do it once to the user, and I can do it also on the machine. Now, if I reset the user's profile, roaming profile, right, all those settings will come back again. Because it's stored, there's a key, there's a number, says, okay, this version of the policy is this number, have I set it once? Yes. All right, don't apply it again until that number changes again. If you wanted to reapply that setting, I could untick, apply, tick, apply. That will now refresh that shortcut to every user. Okay? Item level targeting. Remember I was talking about targeting? This is the targeting editor. Under the common dialog box, I've enabled item level targeting. There we go. I'm going to make you drool. So, there's battery present. Just hang on. Battery present. Computer name, computer speed, date match, disk space domain, environment variable, file match. This runs slow when I'm in a desktop. MSI query, MAC address range. IP range. I love this one. Right, you can target a group policy setting to a single IP address. Right, you can target a printer. One of the things you might have seen there is you can deploy a printer to an IP address range. Does that IP address range need to match Active Directory sites and services? No. Any range. You can go from 0.0.0.0 to 255.255.255.255, right? And you'll try to deploy it to the entire world. But if your floor in your building, or if your building or your site has an IP subnet range, and a user with their laptop plugs in, they get a new IP address, they'll get all the printers in that site. Right? And if you use that replace option, right, it'll remove the printer once they go back to their other office. Okay? So very cool. So IP address range. The other thing I mentioned before is you can actually build this up. So if the user's in an IP range 10.1.1.1 to 10.1.2.1, right, and this magnifying glass makes it a bit slow, so I'm going to kill it. So I'm sorry. It's going to take it's just going to look quicker. And the user is Alan. All right. You probably wouldn't assign it to an individual user because that's bad practice. You use groups, but you can kind of get the point. Right. I can click on this. Who's seen that dialog box before? Familiar UI again. Right. All the way through preferences. Familiar UI. Really awesome. All right. So now I'm going to quickly jump into a couple more. Power savings. All right, Windows XP power savings. That was one of the options there. All right, you can control. Please respond. All right, you can control power savings of Windows XP using group policy preferences. You don't need to download third-party extensions to now manage Windows XP power savings. All right. Yes, I'm on Windows 7 here, but I'll show you how you can do this. So I'm editing a computer policy. Power options. Windows XP power options. Who's ever seen that before? Windows XP power scheme. Familiar UI. You can now push that out as a policy, right? But we're going to do our Windows Vista plan, which is also Windows 7. I'm going to go into power first. Look at my power options. Currently turn off display after 10 minutes. All right, so that's the before. All right, I'm updating the plan called balanced. Go into the display. I'm going to turn off the power while it's plugged in after 6 minutes. So I got to 1/4 past, don't I? 20 minutes. Cool. So these are the golden nuggets. This is not everything. I'm just showing you the parts that you're going to go, these are the things, power savings. You know, go to your boss. I want to roll out group policy preferences. No. I want to go roll out group policy preferences, and I'm going to save you a whole heap of electricity and carbon emissions and money. Oh, that sounds like a good idea. Okay, and he's going to go, how much is it going to cost? Free. All right, just my time. Okay. Power savings, I think, for you is the silver bullet that you need to go to your manager to get this approved for your environment. Okay? Because everyone loves it when you say, I saved money. I go back to here. I go to change power plans. It's now 6 minutes. All right? Now, remember targeting? One of the targeting options, that's not it. Power plan, policies. You can target here as well. Target, date match. On Sunday, apply a really aggressive power plan. But I also want to apply it on Saturday, so I put in 2. Now, I don't want to apply it if it's both Saturday and Sunday at exactly the same time. That makes no sense. So, item options, you could hit FF6, but I go or. Boolean logic. I can also create a collection, right? So you can actually start building this up to say if this, and this are true, or that is true, then do this. So collection is a little bit advanced. I'm not going to go into it, running out of time. But now that policy will apply on Sunday or Saturday, right? Thank you. Or Saturday, right? So that plan will only apply then. All right, which means if I go apply that now again, it's going to stay at 6 minutes though, because remember it's preference, nothing setting it back, right? So if you wanted to apply a different power plan, do another one, and you go date match, and today is Monday. And you just keep going. So Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, I have a less aggressive power plan. Saturday and Sunday, I have more aggressive power plan. Very cool. Now, who has users in their organization that are administrators of their machines? Yes, doesn't that suck? All right. Problem with group policy with restricted groups was restricted groups was a very restrictive setting. You didn't have much granularity. Okay, local users and groups. All right. So first I'm going to show you something even cooler. So if you're a local administrator on your machine, you can reset the local administrator password of the local admin account. I have a group policy preference here. I can select the built-in administrator. So if you rename the account, that's fine. And I can configure its password. Probably don't want that. Apply. In 90 minutes, every local administrator password on every machine that policy is applied to will have its local administrator password changed. If the user comes and changes it back, 90 minutes later, it gets changed again. All right? Sorry? I'm going to probably say no there. No. So, but if you want to try different password policies, you can apply a different password to computer group A. You can apply a different password to computer group B. You can apply a different password to your servers, your local administrator accounts, because this will work on servers. Windows Server 2008, out of the box, has client-side extensions in it. Windows Server 2003, yes, there are client-side extensions for that as well. And you can have a different policy applied for your workstations. Word of warning. That password there is stored as a hash in the sysvol, right? Sysvol by default is read-only to everyone because you need to be able to read those policies. That hash was highly encrypted and was used irreversible encryption technology. That would be fine. It's not. All right? So the hash is fairly easy to decipher. I would argue, one, it's a lot harder to decipher than a clear text password set in your logon script. All right? And two, if you've had the same password for the last 5 years, then every administrator that's been in your organisation still knows the local admin password to every computer in your organisation. It's far better that you actually do something about it. So, how do you get around that? Apply the policy for a week. Every machine that's checked into group policy refresh will get it. And then remove the policy totally. The password stays the same. This is a preference you just set, right? Won't roll back to the old password after it. Once you remove it, that hash is gone from the sysvol, right? So don't tell everyone that you're changing your local admin passwords. Hopefully they shouldn't know it anyway. You probably just tell your service desk. That way the risk of exposure is a lot less. So local administrator group. Number one, I want to update the local administrator group on my workstations. All right, I want to add the local administrator. Funny that. All right, add it to this group. I don't want anyone else in there. Right? So I tick those 2 boxes. If someone's in that group, next group policy refresh, gone. Just like restricted groups, group policy. Fair enough. So I've done that once. Number 2, local admin group. This time I'm going to do the same. Add. The domain's called virtual. Domain admins. So that's group. All right, so first of all, I'll go in and I'll show you the local administrator. All right, so Alan's in there. He's added himself to the local administrator group. Geez, I'm naughty. And then domain admins and local administrators, 2 groups that probably should be in there all the time. So if I now do a GP update force, what it's going to go through is going to go, right, I'm going to remove everyone that shouldn't be in there. So I'm going to look at all the ones that should be in there first. So you notice I added 1. The first one was administrators, and I ticked those 2 tick boxes. But then it's going to go to the next one, and if I said add this as well, it's still going to leave that in there. All right. But what it's going to do, it's going to remove that user there, Alan, from the local administrator account. Just need the machine policy to apply, because this is a machine-based policy. Gee, I hope I applied it on the machine. Workstations, machine, yes, very cool. Cool, and I go back in. Gone, right. That's good. Same as restricted groups. Right? But how do I give my local administrators admin account, admin access to their PCs? I'm going to go another one, local group. Same again, add local administrators, add, and hit F3. Variables, computer name. Right? Right? Stay with me here for a sec. The host name of this machine is CLI 303-client. I'm going to apply this policy, and then I'm going to explain what it does because it takes a little while. My local workstation is now going to go to Active Directory, or first it's going to look at the local administrator group, local users or groups, and I'm going to try to find a group called CLI 303-client space administrators. And if it exists, it will add it, right? Which means that that one group, right, is now the way you can get your individual domain accounts, admin access to that local machine, right? So the user is now a member of a domain account to get local administrator access, and there is a one-to-one mapping of that group, right? Computer names are unique, right? So that group is not going to apply to any other machine. right? Nor is any other machine going to have that group in the local administrator group. So I can actually grant local administrator access to a user even when their machine is not on the network. Ta-da! There it is. If the group doesn't exist, you'll get a warning in the event log that say, hey, I tried to find this group, but I couldn't find it. Oh, well, that's fine, because it doesn't exist. So you don't need to create the groups in advance of doing this, right? You just create them as you need them. You just need to know the computer name. Do you need access to this machine? Yes. Does anyone else have local admin access? No. Create the group, add the user to the group, next group policy refresh, they have local admin after they log off and log back on. Okay, very cool, right? But what if, you know, you had a painful user, or what if you had even a local account? All right. I can add notice again, selected it using familiar based on the SID this time because I used the selection tool. Alan, go back in there. I'm running out of time, but you just have to believe me. I'll probably come back to the end. that user is now going to that user account is now going to get added to the local administrator group. Remember, you're targeting, right? This is an individual setting. Only add Alan to the computer with the name CLI 303-client. We'll only apply that one setting to that, for that one user to that one local administrator group there. All right? So, I could also go CLI star. Right? Who has a naming convention on their workstations? Hopefully maybe part of it's like a site code. Right? So you could go ACK star. All my Auckland workstations will now automatically get a group applied to it. Now that could be a group called Auckland Workstation Administrators. Right, now you have the ability to granularly delegate to individual user, kind of to the site, or you've got the entire domain. Very cool. All right. Notice I have Adobe Acrobat Reader on my machine. Who has Adobe Acrobat Reader in their machine? Yay. No. But one of the really cool things is you can set registry keys. I'm going to rush because there's another one that I want to show you before the end. So I can set a registry key. All right. HKey current user. I click on this. I'm now perusing the current registry of the local machine. Software, Adobe, Acrobat Reader, 9, JS Prefs, JavaScripts and PDFs is evil. It should be turned off. All right? It really should be turned off. If you don't know, unless you have a real reason, right? JavaScript, enable JavaScript there. PDFs with JavaScripts are just a security nightmare. So I'll just select that registry key. It's automatically put the whole path in there, that appropriate value. I'm just going to change the value that it was, which was a 1, to a 0. Hit apply, apply, go back, GP update. And it's going to go off and it's going to set that registry key. Again, remember with targeting, that's user done, okay. I go back into preferences, no. Yeah, I'll restart it, I don't think so. Yay! All right, very cool. So registry keys. Remember again, targeting. You might not have Adobe Acrobat Reader apply to every machine in your organization. So what do? Target it, item, file match. Does the file exist? What's a good way to test if Adobe Acrobat Reader is on the machine? Does it have acroread32.exe installed? Then configure the registry key. So apply a registry key based on whether or not the application is installed. Right? The primary executable name, that's a good way to tell. You could also do a test on a registry key. Does this registry key exist? Yes, then apply this setting. Okay. one last thing. So these are the golden nuggets. You should Twitter out those golden nuggets. Chance for a free headset and everything. Scheduled task. Who here ever has scheduled maintenance in their organisation? Yeah, we all do. Okay. But it's a real pain to make sure the users actually know that there's scheduled maintenance happening because they never read that email, right? I'm going to create a scheduled task. All right, I'm going to trigger it on a schedule, one time only. Dope. 5:11, 10. Okay. Oh, dope. Where is it? On a scheduled task, one time only, action, new, display a message, get out, apply, GP update force, so it was 5:15, and cool, it should make it just in time. Dope. $5:11:15. Yeah, so that's 15 seconds past. So when this goes 5:11:15, no, that's already happened. I'm going to hold my breath. Oh, come on. It should be right because it's a user policy, so hopefully. A little down here. Oh, I missed it. Okay, but there's the scheduled task for good run. Oh, look, get out. Okay, actually that was from the other day. I don't know what I did wrong, but you can schedule a pop-up notification for your users to get out. So if in advance, remember, you need to wait for the group policy to go out to schedule that task. All right, so you can't do it if the server's dead and you want to get a message out immediately, right? Because remember that there's a group policy refresh interval. Okay, these are all the golden nuggets. Go in, have a look. Go through all these settings. Go through all the targeting. Remember, every setting can be targeted. Okay? Oh, I just went the wrong way again. If you like the one I did about Adobe Acrobat Reader, go to Jeremy Moscovitz's Total Workstation Lockdown. He'll show you a much cooler way that you can configure Adobe Acrobat Reader so that the users can't make changes. Remember, what I did was just set in the registry key. So the user can go back, untick it, tick it, and the policy will refresh and it'll come and they'll set it back to what you want. If you want to lock them out of a third-party application, go to Jeremy Moskovitz, Total Workstation Lockdown. So hopefully I've shown you how to make your environment far more secure than this. Okay? Security is a big thing. Group policy preferences are excellent for security. All right? I also want you to save power. Less of these is good. Okay? Power plans is the business case. You need to get this out. And then the preferences are your oyster. You can just then go, oh, well, I've already got preferences deployed to do power savings. I can start replacing my logon script, my drive mappings. I can do printer mappings, power schemes, heaps of stuff, URLs, homepage settings, all that. So in summary, what version of Active Directory do I need? He put his hand up. Guy put his hand up. You can come up and get one. All right. Minimum OS. You put your hand. No. Okay. Service Pack 2 will work. Service Pack 2 is not supported by Microsoft, so you can come up and get one. Oh, God. You're all going to just put your hand up now. First person who stands up. Actually, she stood up first. What's the answer? Do you know this one? No, you don't. Oh, you can get one anyway. You stood up first, that's easy. All right, so there's no schema changes whatsoever. except if you want to apply some really obscure wireless setting. How many management computers do I need? I have nothing to give away. One, right, okay. So you should all have the ability to do this at the end. How much does it cost? Free! Okay, so, budgetary considerations are fine. I will take as many questions as there are outside after this because there's a really quick changeover. I love questions. I'm not running away from questions. I'll be outside. Thank you very much. Coming to my group policy session. Don't forget the evals. And also check out my website, grouppolicy.biz. Everything that I did today will be on that website. Big how-to. Thank you.